All right, hello, good evening, and welcome back to the Law Intense YouTube channel and to another session of the Hindu analysis. Today is 3rd of July, and we are back with the session. Riva is here. Good evening. She's saying, can you explain about SDG ranks? After I read June month, and I got confused which rank is good, which is worst. Bangladesh has above 100 rank and all. So sustainable development goals, have multiple criteria. I think there are 17 criterias, and every criteria, every parameter has a different rank, which is being tracked. And you don't need to, track all the ranks, just the important ones. इसमें confuse होने वाला ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Just sort out through it, whichever feel relevant, वो याद कर लो. Ishika is here, Dog Lover is here, Hia is here, Rock Gaming is here. Alright, good evening, guys. Welcome to the class. Prachi is here, Ruchita is here. Alright, cool. So let's start today's discussion. Today is 3rd of July. Let's look at the agenda for the day. So we have a lot of interesting articles today. One is regarding the BRICS Summit happening in Brazil. Then there is an article which talks about artificial intelligence and its usage in India. Another article which talks about gig workers and their rights and inclusion in India. There's another article which talks about Dalai Lama and his plan of succession. So these are the articles which you're going to discuss in a little more detail. Apart from that, there are a couple of more editorial articles which we'll also discuss, although mostly repeated topics. But yeah, nevertheless, we'll discuss them. And then, of course, vocabulary for the day, 3 new words. That is the plan. Today is Thursday, which means tomorrow is Friday, which means tomorrow is Menti Quiz Day again. So make sure you guys come prepared about everything related to the domain of sports, especially India in sports. So yeah, that's the topic for tomorrow's Menti Quiz. Come prepared. It's gonna be a moderate level quiz. I'll try to keep it a little less tougher as compared to yesterday's quiz, but still a decent level of difficulty. So yeah, that's about the agenda. Let's start our discussion by looking at the newspaper for the day. Let me just share it with you guys. Just give me a moment. Here is saying how important is the US-Iraq war. See, now when you have a unstable geopolitical scenario, especially in the Middle East, especially in West Asia, it's good that you have a fair bit of knowledge of every conflict which is affecting that particular region or has affected that region. So yeah, I mean, go through it. Ishika is saying my mother's name has come in the newspaper today. Oh wow, that's great! Congratulations to her and to you. Do let us know on which page. We love to read. Okay, I hope the newspaper is visible to all of you guys now. All right. So the headline news is BRICS will help create a multipolar world. What is a multipolar world? Having multiple dimensions essentially. So there is unipolar, which means just one direction, bipolar, two directions, multipolar, different perspectives, different directions, different thought processes. That is what a multipolar world is. And we all know what BRICS exactly is about. We have discussed this in yesterday's class as well. And what is the purpose of the visit by a prime minister? It's to improve diplomatic relationships. He'll be visiting 5 countries on his current trip, which is going to be Ghana, Trinidad and Tobago, Argentina, Namibia, and Brazil. Primarily goal is going to be to attend the BRICS Summit, which is happening in Brazil, and take forward the interest of the global South. So India is a big representative of the global South, along with China. Whereas when you look at European countries, US, these are the countries which represent the global North. Global South is the term which we use for usually developing and emerging countries which lie in the southern hemisphere. So yeah, this is a move to, of course, attend the BRICS initiative, consolidate our partnerships in BRICS, and also to strengthen bilateral partnerships with these countries which he is going to visit. The BRICS Summit, if we talk about it specifically, that's happening in Rio de Janeiro. And as the headline says, that he said that this would help build a fair, multipolar, balanced sort of world. We would also be having one-on-one meetings with the other leaders in the BRICS grouping. India, if you talk about it from a static GK perspective, has been a founding member of the BRICS initiative. Started with BRIC, then South Africa was added, then five more countries were added, and now it's a platform for emerging countries to work together towards global peace, global balance. His first stoppage in this whole tour would be the country of Ghana, which is in Africa. Here he would be meeting the president of Ghana, Mr. John Mahama. And if you look at Ghana as a country, it's an important trading partner for India in terms of domains like healthcare, in terms of infrastructure development, in terms of energy. And it's also a part of the African Union, for which India advocated in the G20 summit, which happened in New Delhi, right? So he would also be receiving वहाँ का highest state award, Ghana ka, which is called as Companion of the Order of the Star of Ghana. So now you have multiple of these state awards which have been conferred upon the Prime Minister. So make sure you keep a track of all of these, because there's a probability that a question might be asked out of there. ठीक है. इससे पहले काफी सारे फेमस वर्ल्ड लीडर्स को मिल चुका है ये अवार्ड, जैक्स चिराक को, लूला डा सिल्वा को. एंड घाना की अगर हम बात करें तो प्राइमरीली डिस्कशन वुड बी अराउंड इकोनॉमिक पार्टनरशिप्स, हेल्थ रिलेटेड पार्टनरशिप्स, वैक्सीन प्रोडक्शन, बिकॉज घाना इज going to be one of the biggest hubs of vaccine production for the African continent, and India can definitely mutually benefit in this arrangement. So yeah, that's what's happening in this article on the front page. Here you can see him being welcomed by the Ghana president, John Mahama, in the airport in Accra. Accra is the capital. All right, on the right hand side, we have bring perpetrators of terror attack in Pahalgam to justice, says Quad Foreign Minister. This we discussed yesterday as well, the Quad Foreign Minister meeting, which is happening in Washington, D.C. And our Foreign Minister, Mr. Jaishankar, made this statement where he, urged the other countries to condemn the terror attack which happened. He strongly condemned it. And he said that the attackers, as well as the organizers and the funders of this, should be punished quickly. And the group also sort of reiterated that opinion, that we should reject all forms of terrorism, cross-border terrorism, cooperate using the UN Security Council, etc., etc. ये जो मीटिंग थी ये होस्ट करी थी यूएस के सेक्रेटरी ऑफ स्टेट मार्को रूबियो ने. And India say, of course, Mr. Jaishankar attended. Australia say, Ms. Penny Wong attended, and Japan say, Kiwaya Takeshi attended. So yeah, यहाँ पे ये जो मीटिंग हुई इसमें unlike the previous meetings, Russia Ukraine war का mention नहीं हुआ, Israel Gaza conflict का mention नहीं हुआ. Quad is now more focused towards what's happening in the Indo-Pacific region, because that was the purpose of Quad, right? To counter China's presence in the Indo-Pacific region. And our agendas are usually related to maritime security, economic prosperity of the Indo-Pacific, emerging technologies in the Indo-Pacific, disaster response in the Indo-Pacific. So usme jo hai, we are trying to work towards more efficiency and efficacy, and that is what happened in the meeting. Okay, moving ahead, Amarnath Yatra is going to start. Okay, nothing else relevant here. City-based news we can skip. Terminated eligible school teachers hold rally against re-exam. We all know this case. Supreme Court decision came where they sort of said that there have been discrepancies in the appointment of the school teachers, so they cancelled that appointment, put that on hold, and उसके against काफी time से protest हो रहा है. Almost 15,000 teachers of West Bengal. Okay, nothing relevant here. Rajnath Singh is saying India will form 2/3 majority government in Bihar. Let's see. Okay, nothing that important here. नथिंग रेलिवेंट फ्रॉम क्लैट पीओवी। आज के न्यूज़पेपर में काफ़ी कम ही चीज़ें हैं जो क्लैट परस्पेक्टिव से रिलेवेंट है, but never mind, we'll do whatever we feel is relevant. Editorial section is here, rephasing global development finance. Now what is this all about? Although the important relevant nahi hai, but this is primarily talking about how India is thinking its approach should be in terms of giving loans to other developing countries and focusing on partnerships, focusing on sharing of technology, focusing on grants, and cooperation with the global south essentially. So the author tells you that India का support for the global south is increasing. हमने जो aid amount है वो $3 billion से बढ़ा के $7 billion कर दिया in the last 10 odd years, and we are trying to help other countries with technology transfer, with low interest rate loans, with lines of credit, with training, with capacity building, with duty free market access, all of those things. And we are also looking at reduction of credit based aid. We are concerned about the loans a little bit because a lot of these countries are struggling with debt, and अभी global markets की बात करो तो काफी instability है because of multiple crises going on. So we are looking at a balanced model of engagement जहाँ पे हम सिर्फ loans ना दें बल्कि partnerships ज़्यादा करें, tech exchange ज़्यादा करें, grants वगैरह ज़्यादा दें. So it strikes a balance and does not put a lot of burden on us as well as the other countries. अब अगर हम कुछ ग्लोबल क्राइसिस सिचुएशंस की बात करें जहाँ पे फॉरेन एड becomes relevant, you see a lot of developed countries cutting down on their aid budgets. Case in point is of course US as an example. जिन्होंने US aid जो उनका primarily branch था through which they provided funding, उसको काफी ज़्यादा almost cut down कर दिया पूरी तरीके से. And foreign aid to India has dropped considerably. Like पहले 2023 में it used to be $214 billion, what the article says, and in 2024 it became $97 billion, which is a 45% reduction. And this in furtherance affects India's ability to grant further aid to poor countries and them to pay their debts and meet their sustainable development goals and all. So borrowing जो है costly और काफी ज़्यादा risky हो गई है. So another thing which they discuss in this article is a thing called triangular cooperation, which is an approach which he suggests. जहाँ पे how do we form a triangle here? एक donor हो from the global north, जैसे कोई European country पकड़ लो, let's say France or Germany, Japan. One major country from the global south could be, let's say, Australia or India or Brazil, and a third partner country which needs a lot of help, let's say Ghana for example. So इस तरीके से अगर हम triangular cooperation करेंगे तो that would be a better approach, as it would give better results and it would be cost effective as well. इस टाइप का agreement जो है हमने किया था जर्मनी के साथ 2022 में in collaboration with some African countries and Latin American countries, and काफ़ी सारे successful examples इसके हैं in countries like Cameroon, Ghana, Peru, जहाँ पे we are making partnerships for energy grids, digital connectivity, healthcare infrastructure, educational access. UK के साथ भी हमने recently launch किया global innovation partnership, so that we focus more on innovation-led development. So all in all, agar, if you have to sum it up in a single line, this editorial is trying to say that we are trying to move from being a lender, country which just provides loans, to becoming a collaborative partner where we are more actively engaged in countries of the global south and take help from the rich and developing countries, and through this triangular cooperation arrangement make help and aid more effective and sustainable for the countries which need it the most. That is what this article talks about. Okay. Left side पे फिर वही fire accident related वाला article है, we have already discussed that. Skip this. Integrating compassion and prioritizing palliative care. Now, what exactly is palliative care? Palliative care में आप ध्यान रखते हो एक इंसान के physical, emotional, social, spiritual हर type के needs की. Healthcare का ही एक part है. where you palliative care is more about reducing the pain of a person, reducing suffering of a person. Usually terminally ill patients के लिए ये word use किया जाता है जो बहुत ज़्यादा pain में होते हैं. तो पैलिएटिव केयर की हम लोग यहाँ पे बात कर रहे हैं. एंड इतना ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट तो है नहीं ये आर्टिकल, बट हाँ ठीक है. Roughly, this talks about what are the challenges in India. Inclusion of palliative care in national health policy was a big step. This form of specialized care remains underfunded and underutilized in India, leaving millions without the support it needs. India has a base of these many nurses. Empowering this takes a lot of targeted training, holistic care, and rural areas maybe be underserved. And medical education is not sufficient, doctors are not sufficient, doctors की training is not sufficient, and therefore we have a doctor to population ratio of 1:834, which surpasses the recommended norm of 1:1000. But proportionally palliative care जो available है वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा disproportionate है. So yeah, they're talking about how insurance schemes help in certain extent, Ayushman Bharat and all. But we still need more partnerships with non-government organizations to expand these facilities and increase public awareness in people as well as NGOs and all. US का इन्होंने एग्जांपल दिया कि वहाँ का पैलिएटिव केयर सिस्टम बहुत अच्छा है, फंडिंग सिस्टम्स, इंश्योरेंस कवरेज वगैरह वगैरह, they are pretty good at it, and they emphasize on end of life care, यानी on their old population essentially, which are about to end their life journey. And India उससे काफ़ी कुछ सीख सकता है. We can study and adopt these practices while considering the unique demographic which we have. Integrating this palliative care into India's healthcare framework has become inevitable, and we have to do it. And yeah, we need to address the systemic challenges and transform the landscape. So that's what it is. Simple article, easy peasy article. Bhopal gas tragedy पे है left वाला editorial which we have already talked about. Incineration मतलब burning of toxic waste from Bhopal gas tragedy took time and effort. We already discussed that. The next article talks about AI in India. Strategy must precede mission. So यहाँ पे AI Air India की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम artificial intelligence की बात कर रहे हैं. This article, the main idea is to tell you that India wants to be a global leader when it comes to AI governance. लेकिन अभी हमारे पास कोई ऐसी comprehensive strategy नहीं है, कोई ऐसी national level strategy नहीं है to fulfill this ambition. And without a strategy, it is quite difficult to achieve this, without any coordinated efforts. So important points discuss कर लेते हैं जो इस article में raise किए गए हैं by this author. She says that इंडिया का जो एम्बिशन है वो तो बहुत ज़्यादा है, लेकिन ग्राउंड रियलिटी से वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा दूर है. एंड ऑल्दो वी डिक्लेयर आवरसेल्फ एज अ लीडर इन ह्यूमन सेंट्रिक एआई टेक्नोलॉजी, इंक्लूसिव एआई टेक्नोलॉजी, हमारे जो करंट एफर्ट्स हैं फॉर आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जैसे इंडिया एआई मिशन हो गया, वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा लिमिटेड है. एंड they are very bureaucratic in nature. They are not backed by a full national level policy. And implementation के end पे there are a lot of lapses because we don't have a national strategy in place. So उस वजह से काफ़ी सारे सवाल हैं जो अभी भी unanswered हैं, हमारे पास उसके definitions नहीं है. जैसे first of all इंडिया की AI को लेके priorities क्या हैं? What are the key priorities which we have? What are the ethical values regarding usage of AI? Which India has. What are the governance values? What are our thoughts on AGI, which is artificial general intelligence? What are our thoughts on artificial super intelligence? These are examples, how you look at your values. And there's no institutional framework in place which can, put this all together. And without these answers, जो हमें एक edge मिल सकता है in terms of being a global leader in AI, हम lose out कर रहे हैं. And we are not making the best of this situation, which we should on a urgent level because AI is growing rapidly. There are a lot of developments happening. AI is joining every possible domain. चाहे आप defense की बात करो, चाहे आप intelligence की बात करो, चाहे आप infrastructure building की बात करो, चाहे आप education की बात करो, हर चीज़ में AI is getting integrated. And अगर हम लोग fast नहीं move करेंगे तो we would again sort of get dependent on foreign AI technologies. जैसे we did not move really fast in terms of expanding on manufacturing capabilities, and now we are suffering because of that. We don't have proper semiconductor मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट्स. सो वही चीज एआई के साथ भी ना हो, उसके लिए the author suggests that we should act really fast because AI is the new fuel of the current times, and we need transparent governance, we need proper policies, we need public trust in the government in order to take this further. And case in point is another crisis which is looming, which is AI coming after jobs, right? So, अगर last year के stats की बात करें, which this article states, IT firms में जो है 65,000 jobs were lost, and IMF says that 26% of Indian jobs, which is more than one fourth, are exposed to AI. They are at threat. 12% are at a very high risk. And India की जो AI policy है अभी भी जॉब ट्रांजिशंस, वर्कर प्रोटेक्शंस, अपस्किलिंग, ट्रेनिंग, इन सब की बात नहीं करती है. लेबर एक्सपर्ट्स के क्या ओपिनियन है, सिविल सोसाइटी के क्या ओपिनियन है, ये अभी भी डिस्कशन का पार्ट नहीं है. एआई का एनवायरमेंटल कॉस्ट क्या है, वो अभी भी डिस्कशन का पार्ट नहीं है. हाउ इट कंज्यूम्स सो मच एनर्जी. ऑल्दो वी आर ट्राइंग टू मेक cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad as AI hubs, but उन cities में अभी water supply issues हैं, power shortage issues हैं. तो कैसे आप उनको AI ready बनाओगे when you are barely reaching necessities? Then of course ethical risk और social risk की तो बात हमेशा रहती ही है कि जब तक कोई clear laws नहीं हैं, there would be possibilities of bias and discrimination, possibilities of lack of accountability, वो सारी बातें हैं. So yeah, I mean, that is what the gist of the article is, that we need to develop our policies, our rules, our frameworks and strategies, which is aligned on a national level, which is aligned with the parliament. There should be a parliament standing committee for it, for AI and emerging technology. There should be a proper commission for it. There should be a cabinet approved strategy for it. And that is how you would be able to, move forward in the right direction and shape the global AI landscape effectively. That's what this article tells us. Alright, chat box में काफी सारी चीजें चल रही हैं. Priyanshi is saying, is there any way you can share the PPT which Menti makes? I don't think that's possible, Priyanshi. Player saying, how do we remember so much GK? It's very vast. Just pick the important topics and do them in detail. Swapna is saying, which month is it important to go through the analysis, which I missed till now, as well as master stroke. See, recommended is that you do right from January, but start in the reverse chronological order. Start with covering from June and go as fast as possible. Okay. सलिक सर को क्या बोलना है? अवार्ड्स पे वीडियो बनानी है. ठीक है, बोल देंगे. Can voluntary that euthanasia be considered under palliative care? Sort of, yes, I would say so. The objective is pretty much similar. Passive euthanasia is not illegal in India. Active euthanasia is illegal. All right, और क्या है chat box में? Yeah, ठीक है. Yes, it's recognized with right to die with dignity. That's correct. Okay. All right. We can move ahead. Custodial deaths. This is not important. You can skip this one. Gig workers are part of India's labor data. Now, this is an interesting article. What are gig workers? See, gig workers are the workers which are paid on the basis of their gig, on the basis of the task which they complete. So Rapido riders could be examples. Zomato riders could be good examples. Even your household helpers in a certain extent, or people, let's say, who work on a daily wage basis, those could be examples. Those are gig workers, right? And this article essentially talks about recognition of gig workers. So abhi recently एक survey हुआ था which is called as the periodic labor force survey, जहाँ पे आप एनालाइज करते हो कि इंडिया का लेबर सेक्टर किस तरीके से वर्कआउट कर रहा है, व्हाट आर द पॉलिसी गैप्स, ऑल ऑफ दोस थिंग्स, एंड व्हाट आर द रिक्वायरमेंट्स ऑफ इंडियाज एम्प्लॉयमेंट सेक्टर. तो ये जो है पीरियोडिक लेबर फोर्स सर्वे, उसमें क्या गिग वर्कर्स को रिकॉग्नाइज किया गया है, प्लेटफॉर्म वर्कर्स को रिकॉग्नाइज किया गया है? दैट इज व्हाट द क्वेश्चन इज, एंड द क्वेश्चन इज दैट इट डज नॉट sort of accurately capture their challenges and does not reflect on the unique policies you need, the welfare mechanisms you need in order to address the gig workers. अब क्यों डिफरेंट क्या है गिग वर्कर्स में और नॉर्मल वर्कर्स में या फुल टाइम एम्प्लॉयज में या मंथली वाले एम्प्लॉयज में? It's simple. Gig workers are not governed by your normal labor laws, labor codes. जैसे they are defined in the Code on Social Security of 2020. Gig workers essentially, someone who earns their income outside of a typical employer-employee setup. फ्रीलांसर भी कह सकते हो आप एक तरीके से। तो आपने देखा होगा कई बार जो है राइडर्स वो जोमेटो के भी ऑर्डर डिलीवर कर रहे होते हैं, स्विगी के भी कर रहे होते हैं, या फिर अगर कोई उबर चला रहा है तो वो उबर के लिए भी राइड चला रहा है, ओला के लिए भी चला रहा है। सो दैट इज हाउ प्लेटफॉर्म वर्क और गिग वर्कर्स वर्क आउट। एंड नीति आयोग का डेटा कहता है कि बाय 2030 वी वुड हैव 23.5 मिलियन गिग वर्कर्स इन इंडिया। लेकिन अभी भी गिग वर्कर्स का जो क्लासिफिकेशन है अंडर द सर्वे, PLFS जो सर्वे हुआ है, दे आर क्लासिफाइड एज सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड या फिर ओन अकाउंट वर्कर्स या फिर कैजुअल लेबर्स। यानी कि उनके लिए एक अलग से कैटेगरी नहीं है विच कैन रिकॉग्नाइज देयर स्पेसिफिक डिमांड्स एंड चैलेंजेस इन टुडेज वर्ल्ड। एंड व्हाई इज दिस अ प्रॉब्लम? अगर स्पेसिफिक क्लासिफिकेशन नहीं बनाओगे तो अलग से उनको विजिबिलिटी नहीं मिलेगी। अगर विजिबिलिटी नहीं मिलेगी तो उनको गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स का बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा, उनको सोशल सिक्योरिटी नहीं मिलेगी। फुल टाइम एम्प्लॉइज को सोशल सिक्योरिटी दी जाती है एज पर इंडियाज लेबर लॉस, चाहे आप हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस की बात करो, एम्प्लॉय सर्विस इंश्योरेंस, ESI की बात करो, वेलफेयर फंड्स की बात करो, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा। बट गिग वर्कर्स के लिए ये सारी चीजों का लीगल प्रोविजन एज सच नहीं है। एंड अगर आप एक्सप्लिसिटली मेंशन नहीं करोगे गिग वर्कर्स को तो ये वेलफेयर मैकेनिज्म से बाहर रह जाएंगे। अब इस पे गवर्नमेंट का क्या कहना है? गवर्नमेंट का कहना है कि PLFS में कोई ऐसा चेंजेस नहीं किए गए हैं टू कैप्चर द गिग वर्कर्स, लेकिन सारा पेड वर्क जो है इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी के अंडर काउंट किया जाता है। बट उससे प्रॉब्लम नहीं सॉल्व होती। गिग वर्कर्स की जो कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी है, जो चैलेंजेस हैं, वो कैप्चर नहीं हो पा रहे हैं बिकॉज gig workers are a little distinct in nature. It's sort of algorithm driven to a certain extent. Platforms have a lot of control. It's task based. It's often spread through multiple apps, as I was telling you. It's usually not based on proper written contracts, so there's no job security. आज job है, कल job नहीं है, and therefore अगर आप सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयड मार्क कर देते हो एक स्विगी या जोमेटो राइडर को, यू आर नॉट एड्रेसिंग द वल्नरेबिलिटीज, these vulnerabilities which he or she is facing, the lack of benefits which he or she is facing, and without recognizing them, how would you move towards representing them? So ऐसा नहीं है गवर्नमेंट ने एफर्ट्स नहीं लिए, धीरे धीरे गवर्नमेंट ने रिकग्निशन दिया है उनके लिए, ई-श्रम रजिस्ट्रेशन करवाया है, डिजिटल ID कार्ड्स बनवाए हैं, हेल्थ कवरेज के अंदर अब गिग वर्कर्स को इंटीग्रेट किया गया है आयुष्मान भारत स्कीम के अंदर। लेकिन ये जो हमारा सर्वे है PLFS, पीरियोडिक लेबर फोर्स सर्वे, उसने जो है अपने आप को अपडेट नहीं किया है इन टर्म्स ऑफ integrating gig workers properly, which makes the implementation of these welfare schemes a little misleading in nature. तो वही सजेशंस हैं यहाँ पे कि सैंपल साइज बड़ा करना चाहिए, मंथली एस्टिमेट्स बेटर होने चाहिए, रूरल कवरेज बेटर होना चाहिए, स्पेशल आइडेंटिफिकेशन होना चाहिए, एंड उसी के अराउंड पॉलिसी बिल्डिंग करनी चाहिए गवर्नमेंट को, ताकि द प्रोसेस इज फेयर एंड इंक्लूसिव in nature towards the gig workers, towards the platform workers. ठीक है? Okay. How did Indian universities fare on the QS ranking? ये तो मैंने आपको बताया था, IIT दिल्ली इस बार सबसे ज़्यादा रैंक आई है in terms of Indian universities. जिस पढ़ लेते हैं हम इसकी, highest rank goes to IIT Delhi 123, last year 150 थी, closely followed by Bombay, Madras, Kharagpur and ISC Bangalore. These reflect Indian universities are increasingly adopting the norms worldwide followed and are becoming comparable to international universities. India needs to encourage international students and faculty to become part of its educational institutions and to closely work with industry in identifying potential employment destinations for students. Okay. Land of jinns and poets, Iran, the crosshairs, not important for us. Okay. This is not relevant. Relevant. Not relevant. This is all politics. You can skip this. No link between COVID-19 vaccines and sudden deaths which are happening. I hope not. Okay. एग्जाम फॉर मिशन अभी भी चल रहा है. इसरो से अपडेट आई है दैट इट्स प्रोवाइडिंग वैल्यूएबल इनपुट्स फॉर द गगनयान मिशन. गगनयान इज आवर मिशन, इसरो's मिशन टू सेंड अ मैन टू स्पेस खुद से, मोस्ट लाइकली इन 2027. सो इससे काफ़ी इंसाइट्स मिलेंगी हमें एग्जाम फॉर मिशन से. SBI classifies Reliance Communication loan account as fraud, reports Anil Ambani to the RBI. Okay. Starlink is going to Sri Lanka, third market in South Asia. भूटान में जा चुके ये लोग, बांग्लादेश जा चुके, इंडिया में आ चुके, अब श्रीलंका जा रहे हैं. ओके. ईरान ने कॉपरेशन रोक दिया है न्यूक्लियर वॉचडॉग IAEA के साथ आफ्टर स्ट्राइक्स बाय इजराइल. वी हैव ऑलरेडी डिस्कस्ड ऑल ऑफ दिस. बांग्लादेश की कोर्ट ने 6 महीने की जेल का सेंटेंस दे दिया है शेख हसीना को, बट शी इज स्टिल नॉट अवेलेबल. The line will continue after me. No other authority can interfere, says Dalai Lama. Who's Dalai Lama? He's the spiritual leader, the highest spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhists, and he's the 14th Dalai Lama. So बहुत लोगों को लगता है दलाई लामा उनका नाम है. दलाई लामा उनका नाम नहीं है, दलाई लामा इज द टाइटल. लेकिन पॉपुलरली फिर वो दलाई लामा के नाम से जाने जाते हैं. एंड उन्होंने क्लैरिफाई किया है कि उनका जो सक्सेशन होगा वो टिबेटन ट्रस्ट डिसाइड करेगी, चाइनीज गवर्नमेंट नहीं डिसाइड करेगी. एंड दैट इज व्हाट दिस आर्टिकल एड्रेसेस, क्योंकि उनका 90th बर्थडे जो है आ रहा है एंड ही विल बी सेलिब्रेटिंग इट इन धर्मशाला, which is his temporal seat from where he operates his government in exile. तो उन्होंने कहा है कि जो ट्रस्ट है वही डिसाइड करेगी कि उनका सक्सेसर कौन होगा. They would consult with the different heads of Tibetan Buddhist traditions and the Tibetan government, which is run by the Dalai Lama and the protectors of Buddhism. अब इस पे चाइना का रिस्पॉन्स आया है कि हमारे पास ही अथॉरिटी है, सोलो अथॉरिटी टू अप्रूव एंड अपॉइंट द नेक्स्ट दलाई लामा, which is based on Chinese law of 2007. इंडिया के जो एम्बेसडर हैं, मतलब चाइना के जो एम्बेसडर हैं टू इंडिया, उन्होंने कहा दिस प्रोसेस मस्ट हैपन इन चाइना एंड फॉलो द लीगल एंड हिस्टोरिकल नॉर्म्स. अब इंडिया ने इस पे कोई अभी स्टेटमेंट इशू नहीं किया है. दे वांट टू treat the Dalai Lama with a lot of respect because he is a very respected spiritual leader in India. उनके 90th बर्थडे के लिए हमारे जो यूनियन मिनिस्टर है किरण रिजिजू वो भी जाने वाले हैं, हिमाचल और सिक्किम के CM भी जाने वाले हैं. Yeah, that's what you need to know. All right. स्पोर्ट्स सेक्शन में कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. टेस्ट मैच स्टार्ट हो गया है. इंडिया ने 500 रन बना लिए हैं. शुभमन गिल ने 250 रन बना लिए हैं. It's going pretty good. And that brings us to the end of our newspaper discussion. Let's come back and do vocabulary for the day. This we have done, this we have done, this we have done, this also we have done. Okay, vocab for the day. The first word is audacious. Audacious का मतलब होता है बहुत ज़्यादा appetite होना. Having a huge appetite. Esurient, gluttonous, greedy, these are synonyms. Content, glutted, sated are antonyms. Thinking of nothing special, why not have meals to satisfy the audacious stomach? The next word is browbeat. Browbeat मतलब होता है किसी को धमका देना, डरा देना. Intimidate someone, typically into doing something with stern or abusive words. Bully, hector, intimidate are synonyms. Cheer, comfort, console are antonyms. They browbeat him into signing the document. And the last word is phlegmatic. Phlegmatic मतलब होता है एकदम फर्क न पड़ना, एकदम do not give a shit about anything. Having an unemotional and solidly calm disposition. Affectless, apathetic, emotionless are synonyms. Demonstrative, emotional, fervent are antonyms. The British character is often said to be phlegmatic. So phlegmatic is calm, not reacting a lot, emotionless. Browbeat is intimidating. And audacious means having a huge appetite. And that brings us to the end of today's discussion, folks. Okay. Pranchi is saying, can you give brief historical facts about the Dalai Lama government, who was the first? कल करते हैं, चलो इसको discuss. I'll also refresh my memory on it. It's not on the top of my mind. गलत information नहीं दूंगा आप लोगों को. ठीक है. All right. That's the end of today's discussion. I'll see you all tomorrow, same time, with a Menti quiz as well. So come prepared for all the sports related information. Okay. Baki will continue our discussion tomorrow. That's all for the day. Thank you so much. Tata. Bye bye. Take care. Signing off.